Hey guys, how's it going? My name is John Batzios from IMGMR.com, joined by Sean the Rammer of EA Sports' NHL13. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So listen, let's get right into it. Everybody's been excited about NHL for a long time. 13's finally come out, so here it is, some questions from the audience. One of them is, our online NHL 12 players from last year have gained a whole bunch of stats and attributes that are said to carry over to 13. How will that fare them against players who have not had their stats and attributes carried over from last year?
Yeah, so we really want to reward people for playing the previous version of the game and give them something in the new version. So for online players, we'll look at the stats that you have and bring that over. So you actually can start your career with the NHL franchise and continue that iteration to iteration. So you get a little bit of a boost. You have a little bit of free bulk that you can help boost your character with and start at a higher level. So it's really about giving that little added advantage and give you some incentive for or some rewards for playing the previous version of the game.
All right, and how about the offline players? I assume they're starting from square one, unfortunately?
They're starting from square one, and they'll have to get in there and play some games and build up their character.
Of course, what's so bad of getting their hands from the beginning on this fresh new title? So there you go. We got a new level of realism that's been added to the franchise. We're talking about all the new NHL stadiums that are done to the T, facial recognition and facial capture of even the new rookies. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Yeah, presentation was a big focus for us. It was really about capturing, what people expect to see when they watch a game on TV within our game. And we have a new true broadcast camera in the game that really replicates that center ice camera. It's a great camera to play from. It looks beautiful as well. And with all the other enhancements we've done to the presentation, every single detail from the skates to the detail on the socks, the sock tape, to the scuff marks on the pants, just every single detail. That's the result of having such a passionate team that lives and breathes and dies hockey, working on the game and trying to nail every single detail. And just a couple days ago, we're in Toronto with the NHLPA and their rookie showcase event. So we had access to 30 rookies, and we were able to get them a first-hand look at NHL13 and get to see themselves in the game and play with themselves in the game. And on top of that, we had our bubble where we put people in there and do the actual face scan. So all the rookies got in there, and we got them in some great reference shots of them and got them doing some interesting face poses as well. Some of them they weren't a little comfortable with, but for us it gets us what we need to capture the extremes, and then we can blend in between. So for us it's about just really making the game more authentic and more realistic looking, and really pushing the boundaries of what we can do from the presentation side.
Of course. And how about, speaking of the overall presentation of the game, the announcers, what is NHL13 going to bring that's a little bit new from last year's installment?
Yeah, with the new announcers, it's about just getting new content every single year and understanding the things that happened in the last season and the storylines from last season, and having those guys talk to those situations and, be aware of the situations that are happening in the game, just more intelligent commentary around that. And then also, complementing the new gameplay features that we put in the game so that the commentators are speaking intelligently about new things like the EA Sports Hockey IQ. So when guys step up and read a play and read a pass, or a goalie's anticipating or whatever they're doing to with the new gameplay features that we've added. It's just making sure the commentators recognize that and reinforce that, and just really bring that authenticity to the presentation and the commentary in the game.
Mr. the Rammer, true performance skating. This new revolutionary aspect of the game that's said to change the gameplay online and offline. What's it like to finally see all this hard work paying off implemented in the new version of the game?
It's unbelievable. We set out at the start of the year to really make a big impact with our gameplay. We wanted to completely overhaul our gameplay system this year. And to do that, the game's been rated very well over the past couple of years. And for us to make that next big leap, we had maxed out what we could do on the old skating system. So we had to put a new skating engine in the game. And our true performance skating started off with, trying to figure out exactly what we want to do with it. So this year it's about capturing the explosiveness. So guys that can see a gap and get to a spot quickly can do that in our game. Capturing the top end speeds, the fast players feel fast. And then as we move towards just emergent dynamic behavior with our games, we have real-time physics driving the skating system. So when a guy's going at top speed, just like in a car when you're going 100 miles per hour, you can't turn on a dime. So it's added this whole new element as you turn in. It gives this player a sense of weight, a sense of momentum, sense of working against the physics. You'll feel the controller rumble and get that feedback. So that's been a game changer in itself. And then, with 1,000 new animations driving the system, we wanted to keep it accessible as well and give users the tools to create the things that they're seeing real NHL players do in real life. So literally pressing L2 or pressing the left trigger on the controller puts you into backskate. And kind of like we did with NHL 7, where we took the shackles off your hands with the skill stick. We're doing that this year with NHL 13, taking the shackles off your feet. So when you combine the skill stick with the ability to skate backwards, you basically have the entire tool set in NHL player. So seeing it go from initial designs and a couple bullets on a PowerPoint to what we have today and what people are playing right now in the demo and what we're going to release on September 11th is incredible. And the journey's been fun, and the team's done an amazing job just pulling together and really just capturing what it feels like to be on the ice and the decisions players have to make based on the new skating. It's really a big game changer for us.
Wow, and I imagine all this newly developed physics is going to carry straight into what a lot of them play the game for. This is the big hits. You're on offense, you're on defense. You got to be a little physical if you want to put that puck in the net. So how is the skating and the hits kind of working both together with the new physics engine?
Yeah, so the great thing about real-time physics, if we just take what would happen in the real world if you were to hit me right now or I were to hit you and look...
I would never.
Look at
Your name's the Rammer. He's taller than me.
We look at the size and the strength of players and the angle, the impact, and where the initial point of contact is and all the things that drive what drives real-world physics. And then we take that and just drop it into our world of hockey on the ice and just let whatever happens. And, for us, it's a step towards just that emergent dynamic behavior where in the past we would say, well, I hit you from this angle, so play this animation. Mm-hmm. Now we don't know what's going to happen. It's all based on all the different elements. Mm-hmm. So you'll see in this year's game with the physics, size really makes a difference. You're playing with Chara. He's a beast out there knocking guys over. You're going to see a lot, on All-Star Normal or online settings. You're going to see a lot more of guys just muscling guys off the puck or bumping off the puck and maybe less of the knocking over that you would have seen in the past. It's about capturing that the player differentiation in a realistic way and just really replicates what you see in today's hockey.
Awesome. So the days of predetermined hit outcomes are over.
Absolutely. And that's part of moving away from animations. And, like we talked about, giving the users the tools, it's about, making the gameplay as unscripted as possible, allowing anything to happen. So when you're playing the game, you might see something happen in your game that no one else ever sees again. For us, that's when we see videos of people upload, and people upload videos of whether it's a big hit and the physics in action or players doing new moves using the skill stick in combination with the backwards skating. It's just incredible for us to see these things happen that we never saw happen during the entire development process, and that's puts a smile on our face because we're creating this gameplay that where anything can happen, and it's in the hands of the users and what they want to create and what they want to do with their players.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the new goalie system. I understand that the new system for them will be that you'll have better access to their limbs. Players will be able to readily switch over to their goalie and have a new move set in order to take better control of stopping a strong offense.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So we went full steam ahead with the true performance skating, and as it started to come together, it changed the gameplay so much, and we knew it was going to have a big impact. But the result was that we had to overhaul our AI as well, just to complement the big changes we did with skating. So our AI overhaul is called EA Sports Hockey IQ, and there's 3 parts to it. And the first part is the strategy. So we have 5 times as many strategies in the games as we had in the past versions of the game, just better replicating the way that hockey's being coached in the NHL and around the world. So if you want to play an aggressive forecheck like the LA Kings, you can do that. Mm-hmm. Or you want to sit back in a more trapping style or play a 1-3-1 like Philly and Tampa did last season, you can do that. So that's the first part of it. And the second part of it is just making the players more intelligent, both on the puck and off the puck, and understanding what their roles are within each one of the different strategies, and just playing more intelligently and just having a better awareness of what's happening on the ice. And the third part, to your point, is the goalies. And, the goalies for us was a major focus. So the goalies this year can anticipate. So they can understand if it's a 2-on-1, they understand there's a primary scoring threat. And the big thing this year is also the secondary scoring threat, being the guy that the player can pass the puck to. So this year you'll occasionally see the goalie leaning one way or the other. And you can, sometimes you can pick the short side on him. But the great thing is, with the way that we've done goalies this year, with the tech that the guys have put in, when a goalie dives across to make a save, last year he'd dive across like this, and if the puck went through the middle, you would score because the animation had no way of adjusting. Mm-hmm. And if the puck hit his arms, he would make the save. So this year, when the goalie dives across or makes a save, he has full range movement on each one of his limbs. So his arms, the arm controlling the stick, the paddle of the stick, the trapper, his legs as well. So now it's basically like we've got an infinite amount of animations to the goalie. So, the result is the most authentic goalies, the most dynamic goalies we've ever had in the franchise. And does that go for both automatic and manual control of the goalie? Yep. So, and the same thing applies to the manual goalies. So add some new controls there, just to add a little more control to the goalies, a little more intelligence there. And it's still, it's about playing proper position. With the EA Sports Hockey IQ, we want to capture the positioning for both goalies and for players on the ice. So playing proper position will get you rewarded for making better plays, getting sticks and lanes, goalies taking away angles and things like that. Of course. So in the near future, do you plan on, being a very competitive sport, are there any NHL13 tournaments coming up that we could look forward to? Well, the big thing for us this year, we have a brand new mode in the game called GM Connected. Mm-hmm. And this is the ability for you to have a tournament with 29 of your buddies from anywhere around the world. So GM Connected is the largest multi-user online dynasty ever seen in a sports game. So depending on the sport, you've seen other online dynasties that have 30 or 32 people. We have 750 people that compete as part of a single league. So what that means is you can start a league and be the GM of your Habs, invite me to play as my Vancouver Canucks, and we can get 28 other people each control a team from anywhere in the world. And understanding that that not everyone's extremely comfortable on the controllers, and not everyone's the best at gameplay. We wanted this mode to be accessible to everybody. So you can now just be the GM of your team, leverage all the work we've done with our AI, and be the guy that just manages your team, changes the strategies on the fly. You can change your lines, and if you're the guy in the crowd that likes to yell shoot when the D-man has the puck at a point in the power play, you can press the right bumper and make your CPU guys shoot. And conversely, I can have a team of myself and 5 of my buddies playing anywhere in the world, each controlling a player on the ice in an OTP style. So you could be completely not controlling any players on the ice, and we're controlling all 6 of our players and have a competitive experience. So that's the big innovation for us, getting out to 750 people anywhere in the world, OTP element. You can play as a manager, you can play as a coach, you can play co-op, you and I can play together, you and your buddy can play together against any one of those different ways to play. So I'd imagine there'd be some pretty compelling leagues out there that players racing to see who wins that first Stanley Cup in NHL 13.
For sure. Well, listen, I was fortunate enough to get a few words in with you prior to this interview, and you said this is your 5th actual NHL game that you've worked on. So obviously, technologies have changed. What you have to work with, your tools, your skill set has all changed and evolved. When you sit down to make 13, what are the beginning phases that you chose that would be the most important changes from 12 to 13?
It's an aggressive cycle for us putting a game out every single year. So we know we're going to put an NHL game out in September. And every day that we're not working is a day lost. So we need to start right away and start thinking about what we want to get in the next game so we can get as much stuff in there as possible to really appease the fans of our series. So what we do to start off with is we'll start looking at the stuff that didn't make it into NHL 13, for example. What are the features that hit the cutting room floor, and assess whether or not they're still relevant. For gameplay, for example, are they still relevant to the sport? Has the sport changed enough that maybe that feature doesn't make sense anymore? Or is there a feature that we were thinking about that maybe another team, maybe a FIFA or Madden or somebody even outside of EA has put into one of their games that maybe they did differently and maybe did it in a better way or took it to a different level than we were going to do. And so assessing if those features still make sense to move forward with for the next version of the game. And that's part one. And the second part is, our demo just came out on August 21st. So we're starting to get feedback around the true performance skating, the eSports Hockey IQ, and the features that we have in there. So taking the fan feedback is really important. When the game launches on September 11th, seeing when people have the ability to experience the whole product, what they really like about it, what they want more of, and where the opportunities are for us moving forward. And we factor that into our decision-making process. And the last part of it is, our job as producers is to understand what's happening, with our game, try and figure out the next big innovation, how we're going to really raise the bar for the following year. And that's a burden that we take upon ourselves to really, raise the bar for what you see in our hockey game, what you see in sports games moving forward. And, ideally we come up with a feature that games even outside of sports say, NHL put this feature in that really raised the bar. They did it differently, or they innovated with it. And, even though it's a hockey game, we might be able to, take that and apply it to our RPG or whatever it is. So that's, the burden that we take upon ourselves as producers. And, we're not naive. We don't assume that producers have a monopoly on all the great ideas. So we take feedback from everywhere. Anybody that has a piece of feedback, if someone's thinking it, they send it to us. It means someone else is thinking it too. It's just, working through all the pieces of feedback that we get and understanding how to make the biggest impact with the next version of the product.
So is it safe to say that some ideas, I imagine, that are completely cut out of the game, does that even happen in the phase where you're still receiving the feedback from the fans? Is that how involved they are with the process?
Absolutely. We try to involve, and get the feedback and allow that to influence our decisions as much as possible. A lot of times, we'll have a high-level vision for what we want to do with the feature set, and then, the feedback we get helps fill in some of the gaps that we have. Or, we say we want to go with this direction with it, but the fans are saying they kind of want us to go this way. So that, those all influence our decisions moving forward, especially in the pre-production phase when we're trying to figure out exactly what we want to narrow in on and how we want to move forward.
All right. So talk to me a little bit about the DLC. Obviously, the gaming industry is moving into a very digital age. We're looking at game add-ons, future inclusions, maybe a different mode. What, if you can divulge this information, releases are we going to look forward to in terms of DLC?
Yeah, so EA Sports as a whole, we're talking about innovating the core gameplay experience with quality and authenticity, connected experiences with our GM Connected mode, and connecting hockey fans all around the world with 750 people as part of a single league. And then the third pillar for EA Sports is live services. And what that means is, after you purchase the disc, you take it home, you play it. You don't just get the content on the disc. You get stuff after the fact, and free stuff after the fact that continues to enhance the experience. So for us, we have a mode in the game called NHL Moments Live. And what that is, it's a scenario mode. It's a bite-sized gaming experience. As we all get a little bit older, we don't have the 3-4 hours to sit in front of the console. We were talking about that before.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
How, we don't have the days on end where we can sit and play for 48 hours straight. So we wanted to give people, a bite-sized, smaller gaming experience where they could fire up NHL and play a 5-minute or a 10-minute or play an experience that matches the length of time that they have to play. So what we've done is we've taken the best scenarios, 26 scenarios from last season, and put them into a scenario mode. So you can play as Gagne and pick it up from Gagne's 8 points and see if you can break Gretzky's record for the most points in a game. You're locked to him. Or various other scenarios, whether it be the LA Kings and knock off the Phoenix Coyotes in Game 6 of the conference finals to go to the Stanley Cup. So smaller experiences, you can be locked to a goalie, locked to a specific player depending on the scenario. You can be Stamkos. You've just got the 49th goal. Can you get the 50th against Boston in the 9 minutes left in the game? So things like that. And then when we talk about the live service, it's about working with the NHL, and as things play out in the next season, as we see something that we think is a scenario worthy of our fans playing, we can work with the NHL. We can get actual footage of that clip, play it back in the console, see the actual scenario that played out, and then you can go in there and play that scenario and either change history or recreate history, depending on how we frame it up.
Awesome. That sounds great. So speaking of new advancements in technology, we're looking at for Xbox, we've got the Kinect. Will the Kinect be usable, and how will it be used in NHL 13?
So for NHL 13, there's no Kinect support or no Move support, and we have the luxury of the EA Sports family and looking at what other sports games are doing. So FIFA and Madden, they lead the way with a lot of those things. And for us, we have the luxury of sitting back and seeing how they implement those features, how they implement with the peripherals, and getting the feedback from their fans of what works, what doesn't work, and helping that using that information to help drive our integration of that in future years. So for us, we're kind of sitting back and waiting to see what the feedback is on how the Maddens of the world and the FIFAs of the world have integrated Kinect into the sports games, and then based on that feedback, we can make more educated decisions moving forward and how we want to move forward with those things.
Well, like you said, it kind of fits in with other sports games, but honestly, do you think that that's something that will actually change the game if it enters the hockey scene?
I think if done correctly, it can. And I think it's just a matter of figuring out the right way to do it. Figuring out the right experience that fans want using the Kinect. You hear a lot of people asking for Kinect support. You also hear a lot of people say, "I'd just rather sit on my couch and hold the controller in my hand. I don't want to be up." So, yeah. So and that's some of the feedback that we can get by listening to the fans of the Madden fans and the FIFA fans of the world, and really formulate how we want to move forward. If and when we do.
All right, awesome. So if I can borrow a couple more moments of your time, we have some Twitter and Facebook questions.
Sure.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so with respect to the career mode, we have Max Etier who's asking if you can become a pro with your created character at the age of 18, or do you have to level him up accordingly once he reaches like 25 or so?
No, you can start your pro in the CHL and play through your entire CHL career. Try to get drafted to the NHL and try and stick during the preseason with your NHL team. And if you don't stick, you get back sent down to your AHL affiliates. So you can play basically the entire career of a hockey player starting from 16 years old.
Mark Provost from Twitter asks, what kind of impact do you feel that the new skating engine will have on specifically online play?
I think it's going to just, the way that the true performance skating has changed gameplay as a whole, I think it's going to change the online experience as well. And, the key part about it and the feedback we're getting from the demo and what we experienced during the development is it's now about making the decisions that you have to make in real life when you're on the ice. So you see a guy coming at you with top end speed. You now know that he has limited mobility. He's not going to be able to cut on a dime anymore. So if he's going wide and a player's going to beat you wide, it's the reason why slower players, slower defensemen are able to still be on the ice with the fastest players in the NHL is because they understand the lines and what they can and can't do at top end speed. So when you're playing the game now, it's about understanding the lines that players can take, what they can and can't do based on the speed that they're going. It's about understanding when a guy's in control and he's more agile. It's about defense. If you're in a race for a puck, you don't want to be the guy reaching second for the puck and being going full speed because the first guy is going to take an angle and get out of there and you're going to get out of the play. It's about, as a defenseman, it's about understanding the player coming at you, how fast he's coming at you, how fast is he closing that gap on you. And if he's closing the gap too fast, you might need to turn around and accelerate and then turn back and face him again. So it's capturing all those decisions you need to make in real life if you're on the ice playing hockey or any other sport for that matter, and bring that in. And that's what the true performance skating has done for us.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We got this one's kind of interesting. When we read it, we were like, all right, I don't know what he's going to think about this, but Peter Farsis asks, with respect to the create a character mode, although it is known that we don't really have any usually female players in the sport, is there going to be a female create a character option?
Yeah, so last year we had Lexi Peters in the game. So interesting story there. It's the first time we've had a female in our game in the history of the franchise. And she was a girl from Buffalo that liked to play the game with her brothers, huge hockey fan, huge fan of our game. And she wrote to our president and said, you guys say that you can play as yourself in your game, but I'm a female and I have to play as a male character. So, I can't really play as myself. That email made its way down to us, and we actually put Lexi into the game last year as the first female. And, this year we just announced on Tuesday the addition of Haley Wickenheiser and Angela Ruggiero. So two very prominent names in the world of female hockey, and great representatives of, just the sport of women's hockey around the world and its growth. So it's exciting for us to be able to play as female legends, or have female legends in our game this year, and for fans to play as and play with their team against other teams in the NHL. So the inclusion of females for us is huge and exciting, and it just represents the fact that we're trying to really resonate with all of our fans out there, male and female, and give them people that they can play with and they can relate to.
Of course, awesome. That's great to hear. We got our next one off of Twitter from Greg Kondax asking, there's a potential lockout looming over the NHL. How is that going to affect the live update for the rosters in NHL 13?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, for us, with the product itself, it's just about putting the best quality product out there. There's smart people negotiating the CBA, and they'll figure that stuff out. But for us, it's about really just, again, focus on NHL 13, really raising the bar. We typically put our first roster update out after the first couple of games of the season once we understand what the opening day lineups are. So, assuming that everything falls into place, once those games happen, we'll update the rosters accordingly right after. It's important for us to get those rookies in there as soon as possible so people can play with their big up-and-comers as fast as possible in the uniforms that they want to see them in.
Awesome, right on. And we got one more for you before we go. Will there be any PS3 and PS Vita cross compatibility or any modes that will cater to that kind of new gaming cross-platform style?
Not for NHL 13, but what we do have for NHL 13 for the first time ever is a companion app on iOS. And what that does is it allows you to stay connected to your GM Connected League, stay connected to the 750 people that are part of your league, manage your team, make trades, message other GMs, set up game times and things like that. So it's the first time, it's exciting for us, it's the first time that we can actually take your experience and put it in your pocket and have it with you at all times. And then we also announced that as part of the app, there's also a HUT companion app, so you can manage your Hockey Ultimate team, make trades and things like that from your Hockey Ultimate team app as well.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it from the Rammer himself. Thank you very much again for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, that's it for today. Once again, my name is Jon Batios from IMGMR.com. Be sure to send in your own Facebook and Twitter questions and check us out on IMGMR.com for any more information you need about the gaming industry as it happens. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.